of two other actors have come up as well. Will this case get bigger? Well, the breaking news on that last headline that we just took, news just coming in on the investigations into that narcotics case, links to Tamil and Telugu actor Srikanth. Another actor whose name allegedly came out in that case, Krishna, has been arrested by the Chennai police. Some reports suggest that the names of two other actresses has also come up in the investigations, suggesting that this case could get bigger. Remember, an AIDMK functionary, Prasad, was arrested in this case, which started with the arrest of an African drug peddler with cocaine. The police are probing financial transactions of those arrested to find links to others whom they may have supplied narcotics to. NDTV's Sam Daniel joins me live on these investigations. Sam, what can you tell us? What are you hearing from the police at this stage?
Too early to get some confirmed information, even as the interrogation is going on, Veera Raghav. The background is the police have confirmed that Prasad, the producer, had supplied cocaine to actor Srikanth, who has been arrested, and to a set of his friends, besides organizing cocaine-fueled parties. And what exactly is the role of Krishna? Was he somebody who received or bought cocaine from actor Srikanth, or did he receive from Prasad? That's the big question. And based on the interrogation which is underway right now, police may be able to confirm the exact role of Krishna. Krishna comes from a family of film personalities. His father is a producer, his brother, well-known director Vishnuvardhan, and he himself has acted in several films like Anjali, Iruvar Thalapathy, and the film Kalagu turned into a breakthrough for him, and he is popularly known as Kalagu Krishna. So I think in a few hours from now, we would know whether he would be let off or would he be put behind bars, and what exactly his role is. But in the case of Srikanth, police have confirmed that they have strong evidence to prove that Srikanth purchased cocaine, used it. He also had links with the drug cartel, something that has shaken up the Tamil film industry.
So at the moment he's been detained. That's what you're saying, Sam Daniel. Given the involvement of these big stars, I mean, not really top stars, but reasonably well-known stars, this must be really something that worries everyone in the film industry. We believe, according to at least unconfirmed reports, that there are other names that are under the scanner as well.
That's what the police say. They themselves are not revealing names, saying that only on the basis of strong evidence they'll be sharing names, summoning them for interrogation. But certainly they say it's an ongoing investigation. More information, stories come as they interrogate more and more people. But the film industry is certainly worried, and it's a South India phenomenon in that sense. Many stars, many popular actors, be it in the Kannada film industry, the Telugu film industry, or the Malayalam film industry, have been accused and arrested in several of these cases. And recently, the Malayalam film industry also made it a point to get an affidavit from everybody on the film sets that they would not be involved in any of the drug or any such issues. Only then they allow them to work on the sets, and this will come into force from tomorrow.
Right, Sam. Important that you're mentioning about the Malayalam film industry, where this entire issue had snowballed into great proportions. We'll keep a close watch of that case in Chennai, which is threatening to get big. But now to another murder that sounds scarily similar to the Sonam Raja Raghuvanshi Honeymoon murder case. That's in the headlines at the moment. 28-year-old Tejeswar from Gadwal in Telangana was allegedly murdered in Andhra Pradesh's Kurnool district. His family has alleged that the police are probing if it was his wife, who he married just a month ago, who plotted the murder. The police suspect that the wife could have plotted the murder with another man, one she was allegedly in a relationship with. They suspect that the two hired killers to murder. The two of them hired killers to murder Tejeswar and dump his body in a canal. Crimes of passion, remember, not new, but investigations are still going on in this case. Joining me now, NDTV's Uma Sudhir and noted psychiatrist Dr. Neha Agarwal. Uma, it's disturbing to say the least, as perhaps is any murder case, but the investigation's still on. What details are you picking up from the investigators?
So I've spoken to the district police chief there, T.Srinivas Rao, and he has said that this girl was supposed to have been married to Tejeswar in the month of February. She in fact went absconding at that time, and subsequently she came back and she said that she had been worried about dowry being given by her mother for the marriage, and therefore she had gone away because the mother was unable to pay. And she in fact told him that she is very interested in him romantically and interested in getting married to him, and therefore their marriage happened on the 18th of May. The brother of Tejeswar, who is Tejwardhan, has in fact he first lodged the complaint to the police saying that Tejeswar had gone missing from the 17th of June onwards, and that they suspected the hand of the wife because they knew earlier, or they had suspicion, or there were rumors that she was in an affair with a bank manager in Kurnool district, and she had had about 2,000 phone calls just in the last 4 months. She had continued to be talking to him even after she got married to Tejeswar, who himself is a dancer himself and also a land surveyor. And what they have done is this bank manager, actually 3 people come to him for a loan application, and he gives them an offer of becoming hired assassins and sends them on this mission, paying them 2 lakh rupees. And Tejeswar is taken from his home on the pretext of surveying a particular land deal, and when they are going in the car, that's when they slit his throat open and then stab him as well. And then they're supposed to dispose of the body in a particular layout that the bank manager had told them about, but because there is movement there, they throw it in a canal, and subsequently the police found it because they followed both the CCTV footage of the car as well as the cell phone signals of Tejeswar, and by the time the body was found 4 days later, it was putrefied. It was the tattoo on the hand of Tejeswar that said Amma in Telugu that was used to identify that it was indeed him. Subsequently, they have the police investigation has shown that the bank manager, Tirumal Rao, already married for 8 years, and he had had an affair with the mother of Aishwarya as well. And Aishwarya and Tirumal Rao had in fact planned and executed this entire murder by hiring the assassins, and they had even got themselves tickets to run away to Ladakh afterwards. He had borrowed 20 lakh rupees, of which 2 lakh rupees he paid to the assassins, and 18 lakh rupees they were going to take away with them and escape to Ladakh. But yes, the police caught up with them in good time. And the shocking aspect is how these people imagined that they would get away literally with murder. That's what the SP told me.
Right. Right, the impunity with which it's planned. Dr. Neha, crimes of passion, not really new. One has seen this before. But what's really the impact? Because it is disturbing, to say the least, cases of this nature coming out in full public glare. What's really the psychological impact one needs to be careful about? Perhaps these are cases which needs to be dealt with at a mass level. They're coming out in the fore and getting sensationalized. What's the impact of that?
I would say this is less of crime of passion, but a premeditated murder. Crime of passion mostly comes out suddenly after a rageful incident. These seem to be more of malicious intent, and I don't know how these people think that they can get away with this. Maybe they have some personality traits which make them feel entitled. They have some borderline personalities. They have lack of remorse. So the impact, I would say, before the impact, we should see the story behind every such criminal incident. Every criminal in this incident has a story behind, the psychological story. So various theories we have about this. There could be antisocial borderline traits in these perpetrators, and we need to look more into it as a society. We should try to understand their psychological viewpoint, their mindset, and then only we can prevent such happenings.
Right, that's perhaps prevention that you're pointing out from a psychological point of view. And as you rightly pointed out, these are premeditated cases. What I meant by crime of passion is different sense in terms of being spurned by or having another marital discord resulting in murder. But thanks very much for joining us here. Thanks to Uma as well. We'll keep a close track of that case, which comes close on the heels of that other horrific case, and look at the repercussions of all this. Now to our special focus this evening. A day of national pride for India as billions watch the second Indian to enter space. 41 years ago, it was Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma. Today, Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla made history as the pilot of the 4-member crew in the Axiom 4 mission, with millions of Indians joining his parents in emotional prayers as the SpaceX Falcon 6 rocket lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center. It was a sight to watch as it cut through the dark skies into the space towards the SpaceX-managed International Space Station in a low Earth orbit. Lots of exclusive details up ahead, including what's Subhanshu Shukla getting to eat in space. But first, those stunning images, and then my colleague Pallav Bagla lays out for us the next few hours of the journey.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and lift.
Takes flight. Godspeed AX4. That throttle is
What a ride. 40 साल बाद हम वापस अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच गए हैं और कमाल की राइड थी। ये मेरी इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन तक की जर्नी की शुरुआत नहीं है, ये भारत की ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत है। आइए हम सब मिलकर भारत की ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की जर्नी की शुरुआत करें। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
After a very successful liftoff from the Kennedy Space Center from pad 39A, Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla was in space within 8 minutes. Currently, he and 3 other crew members are orbiting the Earth at about 400 kilometers above the Earth, going around at a velocity of about 28,000 kilometers per hour. First things they did was that they took off their space suits, the ones which we saw, the white suits and the helmet, and they went into using comfortable clothes, and then they had their first meal in space. The space station and his biorhythm has been made attuned with London time. So I presume Group Captain Shukla had his first lunch in space. Eating food in space is not easy. It is an experience, and he is a first-time flyer in space. He must have experienced some difficulty. Now, after having had lunch, he would have his first sleep in space. So 8 hours of rest for Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla, his first nap or sleep in space. When he gets up, the first morning in space, so to say, would begin, and then would begin that process of docking with the International Space Station. It's a complicated process, and many people ask, the space station is only 400 kilometers above Earth, why does it take 28 hours? It's complicated orbital dynamics. The space station was flying overhead over Cape Canaveral, Florida, Kennedy Space Center when the liftoff happened, and finally they have to go and dock with the same space station in a phased manner. This is called phasing. They will have gone around the Earth many times, and finally they will rendezvous with the International Space Station, and the docking will happen with the Harmony module of the space station. Docking will take over 2 hours, and the pressure has to be equalized between the space station and the crew module. Not an easy job, and only once all the green signal and the clear is given that everything is safe, will the 4 crew from the Crew Dragon go in floating into the International Space Station. Currently, the commander of the space station is a Japanese astronaut. He will greet them, and there would be a small ceremony welcoming the Axiom 4 crew Sometimes the Axiom mission I called Mission Akash Ganga. They would be welcome to the International Space Station. And then Group Captain Shukla will get on to his 14-day mission at the International Space Station. So the first meal in space, the first sleep in space, and the first docking in space for Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla. Important milestones in his big jump or leap in space. India's cosmic leap taking shape. In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla for NDTV.
Well, but what's Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla going to eat in space? My colleague Deepak Bhupanna finds out that it could be amras and moong dal ka halwa that's in store for the Group Captain for his meal in space. Listen in to Dr. R. Kumar, who's the center head for DRDO's DIBT wing, which has curated and prepared the space meal.
We have Mr. Dr. R. Kumar. He's from the DIBT. He's the center head from Mysuru joining us. Sir, thank you for speaking to NDTV. I would want to start off by asking, what's the special dishes that you've prepared really for, Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla? Because he's also going to be sharing this with his other astronauts is what I'm told.
Yeah. Axiom mission is a landmark spaceflight mission organized by NASA in association with ISRO in collaboration with NASA for the 14 days mission. In this regard, DRDO, we have provided 3 desi foods, namely ready to drink mango nectar, ready to eat mango moong dal halwa and carrot halwa, which are specially designed to meet the space food challenges. Critically, these foods without any preservatives, commercially sterile, and can be stored for more than 12 months under the room temperature conditions. So these 3 products Subhanshu Shukla is carrying to exchange between the fellow astronauts.
Very interesting that you say, halwa, amras. Now, all of this, was this something that was chosen by ISRO, or was it chosen by the other astronauts or by Mr. Shukla himself? Tell us about how the selection process happened for these 3, savories to be a part of his travel.
These products are part of our proposed Gaganyaan missions. So, based on the list of products we provided to ISRO, they have selected these 3 products, and then we worked on making all the requirements following the NASA protocols.
Interesting. Dr. Kumar, tell us, now the viewers would want to know, how is this food packaged? I'm sure like I said earlier, normal food cannot be taken to space. Tell us about how this food will look like, or probably, how it tastes, or how it feels, how is it packaged? How is it possible that they're able to eat this in space?
These products are packed in the thermally processed, packed in the multi-layer packaging material, and it is having all the packaging integrity test, and it provides the adequate texture, and it can be consumed directly from the package itself. And this mango nectar can be consumed directly from the package material itself. So there is no need of any extra preparation. They can consume, and it is having, each pouch is having a content of 100 gram only. So it can be consumed as such from the packets.
I wonder how moong dal, halwa and amras will taste in space, but I guess only Group Captain Shukla would know that. The science geeks of Bengaluru and Chennai joined thousands as they watched the rocket pierce through the skies. How long will we have to wait for a third Indian in space? Will it be one of them who were looking on? Have this report.
Is another feather in the hat for India. ISRO, of course, has been given some vital roles as well. All of you all standing in the corner, how was it? Tell us, ISRO as well has a lot to do, and I'm sure you have, your institute has worked closely with ISRO in other missions too. So today, what's your feeling?
Yeah, it was a breathtaking moment at that last T-minus 10 seconds. It was always the same moment for every launch, but this was always special because our Indian guy has come into an international mission again and going forward with all the space tech that he has got, and then he's taking the space exploration to the next step on an international level right now.
And, tomorrow when the docking happens, that's an anticipated moment. And of course, till he returns, everyone's going to be waiting with bated breath, because last time there was a little bit of a glitch which delayed, the return of Sunita Williams and the other astronauts. Does this all make you all nervous?
Yeah, it always makes me nervous when we're watching a launch live, because there are a lot of things happening, and there's always a chance of something going wrong. So we're all going to be waiting for that moment with bated breath.
So are you all waiting for docking to happen tomorrow?
Definitely, we'll be looking forward to that. We'll all be watching it here again tomorrow.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. Well, the enthusiasm is definitely there. They're all saying, of course, the variables involved make them nervous, but they're all waiting for the docking to be a successful one.
Subhanshu Shukla is all set to lift off. What kind of excitement among you who pursue research in this field?
Yeah, Axiom 4 mission is a historic milestone for India as well, as it marks the first Indian, Subhanshu Shukla, going to visit the International Space Station, and he's the second Indian to visit the space after Rakesh Sharma, commander. Yeah, which is after 41 years. Yeah, it's a great source of inspiration for students like us.
What would this mean for India in terms of what would we learn, gain?
This mission gives India direct experience in human spaceflight through the participation of Subhanshu Shukla. This gives real-world insights into crew operations, safety protocols, and scientific experiments in microgravity, all of which are invaluable in planning and execution of Gaganyaan mission.
Shukla will conduct experiments in production, food production and microgravity, health monitoring and materials testing. How important are these?
Yeah, these are very important experiments, and this is going to be a first time that India is going to have their own set of data for microgravity experiments. So as a researcher, it's a very proud moment for all of us.
Well, so what does this moment mean for India's next generation? Joining me this evening, two veteran scientists, Dr. B.R. Guruprasad, Director of the Jawaharlal Nehru Planetarium in Bengaluru, formerly with ISRO, and Dr. Annapurni Subramaniam, Director of the Indian Institute of Astrophysics in Bengaluru. Dr. Guruprasad, you must remember Rakesh Sharma moment. Tell us, what's the big difference between now and then? Obviously, no television screens then, no live telecast then. How do you juxtapose this and then?
Yeah, it's an exciting moment indeed, Namaskar. The Rakesh Sharma's launch was telecast live, actually, but it was a black and white TV era. I still remember April 3rd, 1984. I saw the launch live from Baikonur Cosmodrome. Doordarshan, at that time only one channel was there. They telecast it. I still remember to have seen Rakesh Sharma's launch and enjoyed in the black and white TV. Color TV was not there in Bangalore at that time. But now you see how much has changed. In fact, everything is being streamed. We could able to see from nearly 1.5 hours from before the liftoff. I mean, T-minus 1.5 hours from that, 90 minutes from that time, we could able to monitor properly what was going on. It is an exciting moment. So much has changed in terms of technology. And satellites are playing a very important role. You should know this, in fact. And we are very proud of it. And, so much has changed as far as India is concerned in the domain of space. When Rakesh Sharma went, no doubt about it, India was still in its infancy. I would not say not infancy, actually in its childhood as far as its space program was concerned. Now you see how much of achievement has occurred as far as the Indian space program is concerned. And Gaganyaan, that is the human space flight program of India, has added a new dimension. So in terms of technology, in terms of the access to information, and in terms of inspiring the students, and in terms of, I would say, accessibility of space, everything, there has been a sea change, and there is a significant development and a revolutionary development in this domain. I feel this is what, even after 41 years, I still remember Rakesh Sharma's launch and today's launch. Let me tell you, space flight is so exciting. I enjoyed Rakesh Sharma's flight and have been fortunate to see more than 50 launches from Sriharikota, and today it was as exciting as it was. And I'm sure all the 140 crore Indians as well as the Indian diaspora all over the world, they have enjoyed it. It's a matter of pride. And the wait was worth today.
Right, every launch is a story in itself, isn't it, sir? Dr. Annapurni, what are your thoughts from black and white television days to color TV days? What, as Dr. Guruprasad points out, infancy days of Indian Space Organization, we're possibly in our robust youth right now. How do you see this as a scientist? I mean, narrate the tale for us more from an emotional point of view of a scientist, ma'am.
Yeah, so it's obviously a milestone moment. And how I found it different was that, previously you could see a camera put at a distance, and you can actually see it launch, and we don't know actually what's going on inside, and then keep your fingers crossed to see that, okay, it reaches, and then some information comes. But today you could actually see the cameras from various angles, and in a few minutes, I think you could actually see the crew inside and then them actually operating it. So that was something, and the way it is communicated and explained each and every step, I think the people are looking forward to understand what's going on. And the way it was communicated is excellent. And for us, we have actually put two instruments in space. One is completing 10 years and the other is at Aditya L1, which is at the, very far away, so 1.5 million kilometers away. So whenever these instruments are being launched itself, we your heart goes pounding, and to make sure that everything goes well and then it works. But now you have actually people on board, and the safety of the people and making sure that, everything goes well. And it is maybe 10 to 100 times safety and, precautions to be taken. So I think the journey which has gone through people to actually reach there and also operate it and go and come back, it's going to be a huge learning experience. And as you can also see that how many sectors will open up to actually make use of such flights on the Gaganyaan coming up. So it's a really momentous occasion, and it's really a nice time to be living in, because huge opportunities coming up, and also exciting times.
Right, exciting times, you say. I just want to take both of you back in memory lane. Where were you and what were you doing when you watched the Rakesh Sharma moment? Dr. Annapurni first.
Yeah, I don't think it was just early times of television, and I grew up in a small town. So I'm not even sure we had the television and then. So it was only from newspapers and listening to commentary from radio. So it's like listening very closely to the radio. I don't think, it wasn't there in the town where I grew up, yes.
Dr. Guru Prasad?
Yeah, in fact, I had joined ISRO by that time, a few months back. I had joined in 1983 end. So 1984 was the, April 3rd was the launch of Rakesh Sharma in a Soyuz rocket on board a Soyuz spacecraft called Soyuz T-11. I vividly remember this. And it was a very, very exciting thing. At that time, still in ISRO, we had only experimental satellites like Aryabhata, Bhaskara, Apple and Rohini. Okay, at that time. There was no concept of operational satellites. Operational satellites means, from a layman's point of view, I would say, it is a satellite that can work for years together without any interruption. Now you see about 50 satellites are working for India. Okay, they contribute a lot to our economy, to our overall security. Okay, so satellites are an integral part of our economic infrastructure. So all these things make us very, very happy and satisfied, I would say.
No, I just wanted to quickly ask you, it took us 41 years to have the second Indian in space. What's your prediction? How long is it going to take for us to have the third Indian in space? First to you, Dr. Guru Prasad. Just a quick guess. Dr. Annapurni next.
You see, the thing is, the third Indian in the sense, obviously 4 people have already been selected for Gaganyaan. Gaganyaan is proceeding quite a fast pace, but taking safety into account. ISRO is very cautious about it. I'm an optimist. Maybe as an experienced space watcher and a person who has worked in the domain of space and astronomy, I would say probably in the next 2 years or so, roughly,
probably
a third Indian astronaut will be going to space. Yes.
All right, Dr. Annapurni, quick last word from you, ma'am.
Yeah, I think as per the roadmap we have, it is the next Gaganyaan mission and our own people going up there. As I mentioned already, the safety and we understand when we have made the instrument, so we understand how much checks and precautions we need to take for everything. But here it is quite a bit, is a totally different ball game. So one has to make sure that. I'm not talking about the exact time scale. We have to meet it, but safety comes first. So I think the next few years we'll be seeing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. The defining moment was Captain Shukla's parents praying as the flight took off, at least to my eyes. But thanks very much to both of you for joining us here, because all of you deserve a salute, because all of you have contributed to the Indian space story. Thanks very much for joining us here. We'll take a very short break on the show. When we come back, Vasudha Venugopal will be joining me from central Delhi for that big political face-off over the 50 years of emergency.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out there.
Gold Plus Clear Glass. पार हो या नियर, सब कुछ दिखे क्लियर।
भावनाओं को अभिव्यक्त करता हुआ कवि, एक पेंटिंग बनाता हुआ चित्रकार, सुरीले राग गाता हुआ एक गायक और फिल्म के रूप में दुनिया की हकीकत दिखाता हुआ एक फिल्मकार। सब चाहते हैं कि उन्हें एक मंच मिले जहां से उनकी उड़ान को दुनिया पहचान सके। एनडीटीवी क्रिएटर्स मंच एक ऐसा ही मंच है। आइए इस मचान पर स्वागत है, एक वक्त बिताएंगे एनडीटीवी क्रिएटर्स मंच पर।
News is not just headlines, it is what impacts you. And news should never be mistaken for noise. What matters is the reality. Accurate, in-depth, and with the right perspective. For over 20 years, I have been a journalist, and never has clarity mattered more than now. At Newsnight, we go beyond the surface. We dissect the details, challenge the narratives, and bring you the unparalleled clarity you deserve in a world clouded by misinformation. We are bold, we are direct. Newsnight, for the news in your interest. Only on NDTV 24/7.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru. Only on NDTV 24/7.
How often have you turned away from debates that descend into endless fights? We bring you a show where every question is answered, where every debate finds its resolution, where every story finds its conclusion, where opinions collide but facts prevail, where stories unfold with insights and trust. When the noise ends, the last word begins.
Welcome back. Vasudha Venugopal now joins us live for that big national political face-off over the emergency. The political resonance of June 25th, 1975 remains loud 50 years later in 2025. A sharp exchange there, Vasudha, between the Prime Minister's darkest chapter remark and the Congress's accusation of an undeclared emergency right now.
Absolutely, Veera. Good evening to all our viewers. 25th June 1975 was when emergency was imposed in the country, and it led to very turbulent times for the nation. But it made us realize this one very important thing about democracy, that it is very precious, and it sometimes just takes one dictator, one leader to disrupt all of it. Well, some important learnings and lessons from there, but emergency continues to be an important part of our socio-political discourse. The BJP says us that it does not want the country to forget what it went through between 1975 and 1977. The Congress has called the last 11 years an undeclared emergency. But what does it really mean? What kind of resonance does emergency that was imposed 50 years ago have today on India's politics, on India's society? That is what we discuss today with my co-anchor Veera, and we have some very good guests with us on the panel. But first, let's listen in to what Home Minister Amit Shah said today and also how Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge responded to this.
25 तारीख को आपातकाल लगाया गया। कारण तो कहा कि राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा खतरे में है, परंतु पूरी दुनिया अब जानती है राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा को कुछ नहीं हुआ था, उनकी कुर्सी खतरे में थी। बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर और संविधान निर्माता ने जो 2,67,000 शब्द बोलकर चर्चा कर संविधान का निर्माण किया था, वो सारी चर्चाओं का अंत इंदिरा जी ने, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आज आपातकाल की घोषणा की है। एक वाक्य बोलकर सारे संविधान के स्पिरिट को खत्म करने का काम किया।
जो लोग अपने गवर्नेंस में नाकामयाब रहे, कुछ नहीं कर सके और उनकी विफलता इतनी है कि लोग आज इन्फ्लेशन के लिए पूछ रहे हैं, उसका सवाल का उनके पास जवाब नहीं है। बेरोजगारी का नहीं है, भ्रष्टाचार का नहीं है, आर्थिक बदहाली जो हो गई, नोटबंदी जो हो गई, झूठ जो बातें इन्होंने बार बार करते आए हैं, तो उस झूठ को छुपाने के लिए वे आज ये नाटक रचे हैं।
Well, what happened 50 years ago is still important because it resonates with the socio-political discourse in the country. Also, there are questions if emergency debate is also being politicized because the BJP wants people to keep remembering what happened between 1975 and 1977. And why is it important to remember that? That is what we discussed. Shama Mohammed of the Congress party joins us. We also have Charu Pragya of the BJP. We have political analyst Amitabh Tiwari and Professor Sandeep Shastri joining us. Thank you all of you for being part of this broadcast. Shama, to you first. I know it's a different BJP. I know it's a different Congress. Many of us were not even born when the emergency happened. But still it gets talked about. And every time it's talked about, all of us feel interested because the kind of actions that took place then, over 1 lakh people detained under several laws, these restrictions on press. Why do you think that the Congress party finds itself in the dock every year? This day gets observed, and now it's become the Samvidhan Hatya Divas.
It is not relevant at all in this age and time. The relevance is done by a government who has nothing to show. I mean, I can start talking about it. Before that, let's understand one thing. Indira Gandhi regretted it. She had a free and fair election in 1977. That's why the Janata Party coalition came to power. She did not manipulate, did nothing. She had a free and fair election. And let's understand, in 22 months, she was back in power with full majority. People didn't like her. She wouldn't have been back in power. So let's make it very clear. Number two, the government keeps talking about this because they have nothing to show. And I want to ask, I don't even want to discuss. I want to know what's happening in Manipur. I want to know where are those 4 terrorists. They say there were 4 terrorists. They put out names earlier on, which were not the same names. Some new names have come. I want to know who is accountable for the security lapse in which 26 people were killed in Pahalgam. Nobody is accountable. I want to know how much of our land is occupied by China. I want to know when 2 weeks before, it was $60 a barrel oil price internationally. Why are we paying 100 rupees for petrol and around 95 for diesel when both of them have been deregulated in 2010 and 2015 respectively? Let's understand. Why are my gas prices high? Why am I paying GST on milk and other things? Why is there so much of high unemployment in this country? Why are rapists released in this country? And why are even United States said, they put out an advisory, don't go to India because women are not safe here. I want to know. Recently, a French woman raped in Rajasthan. Odisha, another raid. All BJP states.
Okay, Shama, let's get the BJP spokesperson. Let's get the BJP spokesperson to respond.
Pragya Thakur say inside the parliament, God says a Deshbhakt hai or rahega, a terrorist who killed Bapu. I need answers for all this. If they're able to answer, let's see what they want to do.
Okay,
I'm not going to discuss about this.
Okay, Charu Pragya. Yes.
Right now.
Charu Pragya. Shama Mohammed, the Congress is asking this question that a lot of people want to ask. Why is the emergency talked about 50 years after it happened? Does it have any resonance today? What would your response be?
We remember the emergency not because we lived in the past, Vasudha. We remember it because we refuse to repeat it. By that logic, why would we even commemorate the partition? Why do we teach children about the Holocaust? The emergency is modern India's single largest constitutional collapse, and it happened under an elected PM. We have to remember it, we have to learn about it, because we cannot be repeating the mistakes of our history going forward into the future. You want to wipe out that dark era of our country? You cannot do that. You cannot. Fundamental rights were suspended. Freedom of speech was gone. The freedom of press was finished. Newspapers needed actual government clearance to get printed. Movies were banned. Over 1 lakh people were jailed without a trial. Courts were bypassed. And parliament was reduced to a puppet. And what is Shama saying? Indiraji regretted it? I don't remember that. There's not one statement of Indiraji ever showing any kind of regret. In fact, Congress today, with leaders like Adhi Ranjan ji and Jairam Ramesh, they call it a necessity. They call it a bold move. That doesn't sound like regret, Shama. It sounds like glorification of the darkest era of the Indian democracy.
Charu Pragya, very briefly, the accusation is that you are picking up the past because you don't have a defense for the present. That's the argument that Shama Mohammed has put forth. How do you respond to that?
So what present is she talking about? India is doing great in the present, and it is a work in progress that the entire world is seeing, not just our voting citizens. This is the third time that our PM has been elected back into power because of his history and because of his fantastic good report card. This has never happened in any other country post World War II. It is only India which offers this political stability. Where does it come from? It comes from the confidence of our people. Every parameter.
Shama Mohammed, Charu Pragya says that she has both the present and the past on her side. Please go ahead and respond to this before I go to Sandeep Shastri and Amitabh.
She talked about the way press had no freedom. I want to ask her, there was a documentary on 2002 by the BBC. Why was it banned in India? What is the reason? We want free. I want to watch it. Why are you hiding it? Is it because the Prime Minister of India was responsible for it? I want to know, in Empuran, a Malayalam film, why were the scenes pertaining to the Gujarat riots removed? That is also part of history. That is dark days of history which were covered.
Can I respond, please?
A person like Bilkis Banu was raped by 11 people. She was 7 months pregnant.
Let's get Amitabh Tiwari now. Amitabh Tiwari, when it comes to the political discourse, when it comes to the accusation, Amitabh Tiwari, when it comes to the accusation by the Congress party that the BJP is politicizing it, and the BJP is calling all of this something that's important for the country to know. How do you see this, Mr. Tiwari?
No, of course.
Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, how do you see this political discourse revolving around emergency that happened 50 years ago, something that the BJP says is very important for the country to know, and the Congress saying that it's just being politically weaponized?
No, see, it's a battle of perception and narratives. What has happened over the past few years is that the Congress and the opposition parties have clearly raised or alleged that the constitution is in danger. And during the Lok Sabha elections, they have raised the point that the BJP could change the constitution if it gets 400 seats. And we saw resonance also on the ground, due to which the BJP lost some SC/ST reserved seats compared to 2019. So it is, in a way, BJP's answer of getting back to Congress and trying to portray to the people, especially as you mentioned, when the 18 to 44 age group, which is around 65% of the voting population, has not seen emergency. So it is very, very difficult for this issue to resonate amongst this section of voters. So that's why the BJP is trying to bring home the point that, see, while the opposition has been targeting us that constitution is in danger and we could change the constitution if we got 400 seats, or even today it is an undeclared emergency. It was the Congress party and the leader which actually imposed emergency and did 1, 2, 3 things, correct? But there is one catch here, is that of course it is beneficial in targeting or neutralizing the narrative of the opposition, but it also gives a message to the people that too much power should not be given to one political party, because there is a lacuna in the constitution which can be used in the future.
Right. Sandeep
Yes,
Shastri,
absolutely. That's a very
given
important
that
point.
What Amitabh Shivari has said, is it a case of the pot calling the kettle black when you have this political exchange, or is it also about establishing moral superiority on who has the moral authority to say what at the end of the day in political discourse?
Veera, very quickly, based on what all we have said, I think there are 4 points we need to highlight. Point number 1, as you said, it has today become a part of a political narrative. Very clearly, in a polarized system, it becomes convenient for both sides to use it to make their point. Secondly, I think there is no question of doubt, there is no shadow of doubt that the declaration of emergency was undoubtedly one of the darkest days of Indian democracy. Let's not have any second thought about it. Point number 3, to the best of my records and understanding, Mrs. Indira Gandhi never directly, openly regretted the emergency. Najma Heptullah, who later on was with the BJP, has written in her book that Indira Gandhi regretted the emergency. R.K. Dhawan has written, Fotedar has written, but there is no documentary evidence that she herself directly regretted.
Public expression of it.
But let me make a 4th point. The emergency itself had a significant impact on North India. Let's remember, Veera, that in the 1977 Lok Sabha election, the Congress lost only 9 of the 119 seats in South India. They lost only 9 of the 100. They won all the seats in Karnataka except 1. They won all the seats in Andhra except 1. They won all the seats in, the alliance won all the seats in Kerala except 2. And they won all the seats in Tamil Nadu except 5. So I think let's also remember
that's a very important
these
point,
aspects.
Professor Shastri.
Undoubtedly, emergency was wrong.
Shama
but the
Mohammed, you
nature
heard
of its
Professor
impact
Shastri
varied
out.
across the country.
Yes. Okay. Shama, Rahul Gandhi has often talked about appending systems. He has talked about radicalizing, disrupting systems, and he's not really, he's often talked about correcting wrongs done in the past. Why doesn't he talk about emergency? Because this also would mean that he is really committed to the idea of freedom of speech.
No, so why doesn't Modi talk about what happened in 2002? Now, Mr. Shastri says, others have said she has regretted. Has any other told Modi has regretted about 2002? He said it's like a puppy under a tire. So please let me know what happened in Gujarat. Has he shown any regret, even for 1984, Sonia ji and Manmohan Singh ji? Manmohan Singh ji, especially in Parliament, said we regret it. And I'm saying we regret it. Has Narendra Modi ever regretted what happened in 2002? Never. Even now, he's after the Muslims. Even now, there's bulldozing. Even now, it's you versus other. Who said, "Aapke Mangal Sutra, Congress party, aapke Mangal Sutra Cheen ke Musalmanon ko denge." Narendra Modi in the last election. Congress party, aapke Behas Cheen ke Musalmanon ko denge. What sort of prime minister is this? And let me tell you, they are members of parliament. They are MLA. Deputy CM of Rajasthan said that we will change the constitution if we get more than 400. So it is not normal public talking about it. It is the truth. And one last point. When Ajit Pawar, there is no investigation. Ajit Pawar is another party. The minute he joins, Bharatiya Janata Party, ED cases are stopped against Himanta Biswa Sarma, against Suvendu Adhikari, Organ, CBI, EC, ED. It's controlled by the Prime Minister of this country. It is an undeclared emergency.
Charu, that's an important point. Yes.
Yeah,
Charu,
this undeclared emergency. Vasudha, I've heard this word so often, undeclared emergency. Let me tell you how an emergency actually looks like. All the opposition leaders in the actual emergency were behind bars. behind bars. Media couldn't speak. Today, all these opposition leaders are taking press conferences twice a day. They are screaming on national television, pointing fingers at our elected Prime Minister time and time again. They cancelled elections when the actual emergency happened. Cancelled elections. And we just concluded the world's largest elections last year. This is not a figment of imagination.
Charu, let me just ask you this one question. A lot of opposition leaders were also jailed, from Hemant Soren to Arvind Kejriwal. I know that this was solved because of investigation, and people would always say that these are autonomous bodies. But the allegation by the opposition parties that investigating agencies are being misused and that opposition political parties are being targeted. How do you respond to that?
Vasudha, were they jailed because they come from a different political ideology, or were they jailed because they were involved in corruption charges in cases that were being investigated at every level? That is the difference. In emergency, political leaders or even otherwise, people were jailed for no reasons. Criticizing the government equaled to a crime. That is what the emergency meant. That is what we are trying to remember today. It is very important we remember this. If we forget the lessons of our past, our future is going to remind us in the most horrific manner.
Okay. My last question to the Congress, and very clearly, Shama Mohammed, when you make an accusation about the present, about the emergency, it seems more like condoning it. Is it bad strategy to just oppose the emergency argument of the BJP? Perhaps let it be, make the accusations on another day, because one wrong does not right another wrong.
No, why does the Prime Minister start with emergency every year? It happened many years ago. Why doesn't he talk about what is happening in his country? Why
not concede that it was a big mistake?
No.
Every country.
After Naroda, I didn't interrupt. I won't let you talk. After Naroda Patia, Babu Bajrangi,
something bad happened,
thousands walking free.
Babu
Bajrangi, after killing thousands.
I'm simply asking you this by that logic. Any bad thing should not be remembered. A death of a family member, a Holocaust, a partition, any bad thing. Why do you celebrate death anniversaries then?
Many learnings there. Thank you, Charu Pragya. Thank you, Shama Mohammed. That's all the time that we have. Thank you, Professor Shastri. Thank you, Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, for joining us. Veera, this only makes me wonder. I'm coming to you from central Delhi, and this place would have looked so much different in 1975 because, in the run-up to emergency, a lot of things happened when Delhi had to bear the brunt for the sterilization campaign, Garibi Hatao. It was also the epicenter of total revolution coming from Bihar and the Nirban agitation coming from Gujarat. But today is a different time, and like Shama and Charu Pragya also said, present is important, but past is also critical so that we don't repeat mistakes what we have done in the past.
That's right. Multiple political arguments between the past and the present. That's all we have time for on the Southern View this evening. Thanks very much for joining from Central Delhi, Vasudha. I know you have off-the-record meetings to attend on this big political face-off. We'll take a short break here on NDTV. Lots more ahead on the show.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
The second Indian in space will have moong dal halwa and arm ras for his next meal. NDTV finds out from the DRDO wing that prepares the food as India boys in pride with Group Captain Shukla. Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge hits out at party MP Shashi Tharoor for his recent remarks praising Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying that, quote-unquote, for some people, Modi comes first. Tharoor says he doesn't need permission to fly. Another actor arrested in the Chennai cocaine case in which actor Srikanth was arrested. Sources say names of two other stars have come up as well. Will the case get bigger? Former Punjab Minister Bikram Singh Manjeeta has been arrested by the Punjab Vigilance Bureau in a disappropriation assets case. He alleges it's AAP's attempt to silence him.
तू ही तो है जिसकी सच्चाई वाली क्लैरिटी की वजह से मैं आज यहाँ हूँ।
गोल्ड प्लस सिल्वॉक्सी मिरर्स, ऐसी क्लैरिटी कि आपको सिर्फ सच नजर आए, चाहे कितने भी साल बीत जाएं।
Do you really know the company you invest in? What is the real picture behind presentations and claims? Is the outlook as rosy as the company claims? Know Your Company, powered by NDTV Profit Research, shines a light on the biggest stock market movers.
There have been 4 alerts which have been sounded off here. In fact, what we can confirm is that one missile did hit a residential building in Beersheba. As I speak, you can hear the air raid sirens going in. So I will have to make my way and see if we can find us a safe place. This is the announcement being made. Listen into it. We are coming to you live from this location which was hit in Beersheba, a residential high-rise. Ruins of this building tell you the cost that this war, the 12-day war so far, has taken.
I've been reporting on all issues big and small from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I'm bringing that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti, also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
India's IT capital is always bustling, a city full of startups, stories and surprises. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
If it matters to you, if it matters to you, if it matters to you, it matters to India. It matters to India. It matters to India. And it matters to me. And it matters to me.
India Matters with Shivaru, only on NDTV 24/7. In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
Do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to India Matters on Wednesday night. What a milestone day this is for the country. India's second spaceman in history, as we speak, is zooming through space, making his way with his crew to the International Space Station. This is history in the making, and in a short while from now here on India Matters, the person of the moment, not Group Captain Shubhanshu, but his dear beloved mother, will be joining me live. She's become India's darling for her emotional reaction to her son's space flight. Stay tuned for that. But today is also the anniversary of something just a little darker. Viewer, today is 50 years since India's darkest democratic moment. Half a century since the emergency was imposed, and yet it continues to hang like an albatross around the country's and the Congress party's neck. And the real tragedy, the Congress party still doesn't really know what to do with it. Instead of exorcising this ghost, the Congress ecosystem is still busy rationalizing it, blaming conspiracies, hinting at RSS plots, and even calling Indira Gandhi noble for holding elections after 21 months of suspended democracy. Think about that, praising the jailer for eventually opening the jail cell door. Well, sure, the Modi government is making an absolute political meal of Samvidhan Hatya Divas, isn't it? But can you blame them really? Honestly, no matter where you stand politically, the Congress has made it laughably easy, too hesitant to rebuke a Gandhi family decision, too timid to cut itself loose from the past. The Congress party is left looking weak, mealy-mouthed, indecisive and defensive. How does it expect to attack the Modi government on alleged authoritarianism when it won't honestly confront its own history of real documented dictatorship? For all that the Congress says about Modi, and there are many legitimate things that the Congress does have to take on Modi for, is it really surprised that he has invested so much political capital in making this on the nation's annual calendar, putting this on the nation's annual calendar? When your rival leaves the wicket wide open, you don't miss the shot. 50 years on, the emergency is no longer just a historical event. It is a relic of our past that this government is intent on educating new generations about. Remember, 50 years is a long time. At least 3 generations weren't even born when this happened. So it never fully evaporates from collective public memory. That's what all the buzz over Samvidhan Hatya Divas is about. It's what I like to call a litmus test of political honesty, and the Congress continues to give the equivalent of a full toss to its rivals.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
लोकतंत्र का गला घोंट दिया गया था। भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई थी।
June 25th, 1975. A date that would stain the Indian Republic forever. A midnight decision, silent, sudden, and totally seismic. Over the next 30 years, this NDTV special report about how the world's largest democracy, our democracy, was switched off.
"15 minutes before midnight on June 25, 1975, President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad signed the proclamation.
राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
The emergency was now in effect. No press release, no cabinet discussion, no warning. Radio stations played patriotic music. the country would wake up to find democracy interrupted. Over 100,000 opposition leaders, activists, journalists and students were arrested overnight. Printing presses were raided. Newspapers went black. Fundamental rights were suspended by decree. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, facing imminent disqualification from Parliament, struck preemptively, turning a legal crisis into a constitutional collapse. A silent coup without tanks. A night without a dawn. The emergency had begun.
And what followed was repression that the country hadn't seen since the British Raj. And remember, this was a relatively young country. A sudden system of fear just swept in, a government determined to crush the opposition at any cost, and a nation that was now forced into submission.
Article 352 invoked. The press censored. Parliament sidelined. Courts silenced. Indira Gandhi's son, Sanjay Gandhi, became the unelected Tsar of India. Controversial sterilization drives swept through poor neighborhoods. Dissenters were picked up, jailed without trial under the infamous MISA, the Maintenance of Internal Security Act. Detentions, arrests, protests, families torn apart. Journalists wrote fiction to keep their papers running.
अनुशासन के नाम पर अनुशासन का खून भंग कर दिया संघ को कैसा चढ़ा जुनून मत पूजा प्रतिबंधित कुटिल कर रहे केशव कुल की कीर्ति कलंकित कह कैदी कविराय तोड़ कानूनी कारा गूंजेगा भारत माता की जय गाना.
This was India under the emergency. Not a democracy, but a police state with parliament as the prop.
The truth is, when freedoms are taken, the scars do not ever show immediately. That's the ironic truth about them. But they run extremely deep. 21 months of emergency left behind a trail of pain, broken institutions, and institutional mistrust that continued for many years to come.
कार्यक्रम है जो हिंदुस्तान के लिए बहुत ही जरूरी है. वो कार्यक्रम है परिवार नियोजन का. तो हंसने से परिवार नियोजन नहीं होगा, इसमें काफी काम करना पड़ता है.
8 million forced sterilizations in a year. More than 1 lakh political prisoners. Thousands of homes bulldozed in beautification drives. Victims of forced sterilization recall being dragged from homes. Slum residents recount bulldozers arriving without notice. Writers describe the fear of blank pages. Even the judiciary bent. In the infamous ADM Jabalpur case, the Supreme Court ruled the right to life stands suspended during the emergency. The price wasn't just paid in lives, but in the soul of Indian democracy. A soul that would take years to recover.
It isn't just legend, it is truth. And that is that not everyone bowed. Even in the darkness of emergency, resistance flickered through pamphlets, protests, and an underground network that kept hope alive in literally every corner of this vast country, including someone who perhaps needs no introduction today.
JP, as Jayaprakash Narayan was known, became the face of rebellion. From Patna to Delhi, student groups became the front lines of dissent.
छात्रों और जनता के आंदोलन में जो मुख्य बात उठाई गई थी वो यह थी कि प्रशासनिक और चुनाव संबंधी सुधार किए जाएं, जिससे कि चुनाव सस्ते हों, सही तौर पर प्रतिनिधित्व संभव हो और प्रशासन जनता के निकट आए।
In Gujarat, a young RSS pracharak named Narendra Modi operated underground, helping coordinate resistance and escape routes. He used disguises, fake IDs, and couriered banned literature across state lines. The underground press printed leaflets overnight. Small radios crackled with messages of defiance. Secret meetings in temples and basements gave voice to the voiceless. For every day of silence, there was someone whispering truth in the dark.
"21 months may not seem like a long time, but it's an eternity when the circumstances are such." The emergency finally ended only in 1977, but its echoes remain even now 50 years later. And its mindset still lurks. As India marks half a century since that dark chapter, are we sure, are we certain it can never happen again?
Indira Gandhi was voted out. Democracy restored. But the culture of unquestioning obedience survived. Governments since have threatened the press, used sedition and UAPA laws, crushed dissent with police power. Prime Minister Modi has often called the emergency India's darkest hour.
देश की आत्मा को कुचल दिया गया था, देश के मीडिया को दबोच दिया गया था, पूरे हिंदुस्तान को जेल खाना बना दिया गया था.
But critics say even today, institutions are still vulnerable to overreach. The emergency lasted 21 months, but the fight for freedom is forever. Never forget, never again.
जब देश संविधान के 25 वर्ष पूरे कर रहा था, उसी समय हमारे देश में संविधान को नोच लिया गया, इमरजेंसी आपातकाल लाया गया. संवैधानिक व्यवस्थाओं को समाप्त कर दिया गया, देश को जेल खाना बना दिया गया, नागरिकों के अधिकारों को लूट लिया गया, प्रेस की स्वतंत्रता को ताले लगा दिए गए. और कांग्रेस के माथे पर ये जो पाप है ना, वो कभी भी धुलने वाला नहीं है, कभी भी धुलने वाला. यह सब हिंदुस्तान, दुनिया में जब जब लोकतंत्र की चर्चा होगी, कांग्रेस के माथे का ये पाप कभी धुलने वाला नहीं है.
And 50 years later, the emergency has proven to be just as hot a political football as it was in the years following emergency. Just take a look at the big crossfire between the Congress and the BJP today, half a century later.
25 तारीख को आपातकाल लगाया गया. कारण तो कहा कि राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा खतरे में है, परंतु पूरी दुनिया अब जानती है राष्ट्र की सुरक्षा को कुछ नहीं हुआ था, उनकी कुर्सी खतरे में थी. बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर संविधान का निर्माण किया था, वो सारी चर्चाओं का अंत इंदिरा जी ने, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आज आपातकाल की घोषणा की है. एक वाक्य बोलकर सारे संविधान के स्पिरिट को खत्म करने का काम किया.
अरे इमरजेंसी तो अब आपने लाई है, ये अनडिक्लेयर्ड इमरजेंसी है. वो इमरजेंसी तो चले गई जो संविधान में बदलाव भी हो गया. और जब संविधान में बदलाव हो गया, जिसके लिए हम भी, इंदिरा गांधी जी ने खुद उस अमेंडमेंट को मोरारजी का साथ दिया और वो बदल गया. अब नहीं है वो.
केवल एक राजनीतिक घटना नहीं थी, बल्कि लोकतंत्र पर सीधा हमला था, एक कुठाराघात था. 50 वर्ष बाद भी कांग्रेस उसी मानसिकता के साथ जी रही है. उसकी नीयत आज भी वैसी ही तानाशाही वाली है.
आरएसएस और बीजेपी ने अपनी उंगली भी नहीं कटाई उस वक्त में. इनको पूछो, इनको उस वक्त में इन्होंने क्यों नहीं आजादी जंग में भाग लिया. और बेरोजगारी है, उसकी चिंता इनको नहीं है. महंगाई बहुत भयंकर बढ़ रही है, उसकी चिंता इनको नहीं है. तो और क्या करेंगे? इमरजेंसी की बात करेंगे.
And today is an incredible day and a milestone. As promised, I wanted to bring you something truly special today. You already know where I'm actually standing. This is a simulated version of the International Space Station. Guess who's headed here and will be reaching very soon? Obviously, you know the answer to that as well. It is Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla and the crew of Axiom 4. The amazing, beautiful pictures of him blasting off into space on Axiom 4. They're headed towards the International Space Station today and will be reaching there at 4 p.m. tomorrow. I had this wonderful conversation with his mother, Asha Shukla, earlier today. Take a look. And joining us now, it is our great privilege to welcome Asha Shukla, the mother of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and Nidhi Shukla, the sister of astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla. Our great honor to have the family of a spaceman who has made the entire country proud today. आशा जी, मैं आपसे शुरू करूंगा. आज पूरा देश आपको प्रणाम करता है. हमने सब देखा कि आप कैसे भावुक भी हुए थे आज जब लॉन्च हो रहा था. हमें बताइए कि आपके मन में क्या चल रहा था उस वक्त जब वो लॉन्च का काउंटडाउन हो रहा था और जब सक्सेसफुल लॉन्च भी हुआ था. आशा जी.
भावुक तो अब ऐसा पल था कि बच्चा हमारा इतनी ऊंचाइयों पे जा रहा था उस समय, इसलिए भावुक थोड़ा हो गई थी मैं. बट खुशी का पल भी था. वो खुशी के आंसू थे जो आप लोगों को दिखाई दिए, तो हम लोग हले खुशी का क्षण था. बहुत ज़्यादा जब खुशी होती तब भी आंखों में आंसू आ जाते हैं. वही पल था बस उस समय. और बाकी बहुत अच्छा लगा. बहुत गर्व महसूस हो रहा है. हमारा बच्चा इतनी ऊंचाई पे जा रहा है. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है मुझे.
पिछले कुछ दिन कैसे थे आपके लिए आशा जी? काफ़ी सस्पेंस था, काफ़ी टेंशन हुआ होगा क्योंकि ये मिशन 2-3 बार डिले और पोस्टपोन भी हुआ था. क्या आपके मन में ये एक कंसर्न था कि आज भी शायद वो डिले हो सकता है?
हाँ, कल शाम तक तो ये लग रहा था कि ऐसा ना हो फिर कैंसिल हो जाए, लेकिन कल शाम को क्लियर हो गया था कि अब कैंसिल नहीं होगा, बात जाएगा. और इसके पहले जो कैंसिलेशन हुआ वो तो 2-4 बार. अब इतने बड़ा मिशन है, इसमें तो कुछ ना कुछ कैंसिल होता ही रहता है. किन्हीं कारणों से, टेक्निकल कारणों से कुछ गड़बड़ी रही होगी, इसीलिए बार बार कैंसिल हो रहा था. अब जब सब सही हो गया तब उन्होंने लॉन्च कर दिया. सही हो गया सब.
लॉन्च के पहले आपका पिछला कॉन्वर्सेशन शुभांशु से कब हुआ था? क्या बातचीत हुई? क्या आप कुछ शेयर कर सकते हैं आशा जी?
हाँ, बात आज ही सवेरे हुई थी. लॉन्चिंग के पहले वही 7 बजे करीब बात हुई है. 7 बजे बात हुई थी हम लोगों की, तो सब ठीक था, बढ़िया था. कह रहा था मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, बहुत एक्साइटेड था लॉन्च के लिए कि हाँ मैं जा रहा हूँ. मम्मी पापा आप लोग अपना ध्यान रखना और मैं जल्दी से जल्दी आता हूँ मिशन से लौट के, फिर आप लोगों से मुलाकात करता हूँ. ये बात हुई थी सवेरे आज.
आपने क्या शुभांशु को कुछ एडवाइस दिया, कुछ ज्ञान दिया?
अरे उस बच्चे को क्या एडवाइस देंगे, वो तो पूरी दुनिया को खुद ही अपनी सलाह सब कुछ दे रहा है अच्छे से. तो उसको हम क्या एडवाइस देंगे.
नहीं, आपके मन में इतना गर्व होगा, हम समझ सकते हैं आशा जी. आपका बेटा एक एस फाइटर पायलट है वायुसेना में और अब वो अभी एक मिशन पे चल चुके हैं इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन की ओर. 28 घंटे का जर्नी होगा. अगला आपका कांटेक्ट कब होगा? आप उसका इंतजार कर रहे होंगे अभी.
कांटेक्ट का तो अभी पता नहीं कब होगा, ये तो हमें भी नहीं मालूम है कांटेक्ट कब होगा. हो सकता बात हो एक बार बीच में, लेकिन अभी कुछ कंफर्म नहीं है. और वैसे तो अब जब वापस आने के बाद ही मुलाकात होगी, बातचीत होगी.
जी, और इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन के बारे में आपने काफ़ी रिसर्च किया होगा कि लाइवलीहुड और लिविंग कैसा होता है इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन में. तो आपका क्या ख्याल है?
ठीक है, देखा है मैंने, उसको पढ़ा है. वहाँ इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन के बारे में काफ़ी जानकारी मिली है, सब मालूम है वहाँ के विषय में. थोड़ा जो हम भी पढ़ते ही हैं, इधर उधर से जानकारी मिलती, तो पता है कोई ऐसी डरने वाली बात नहीं है. वहाँ के जैसी ज़िंदगी होती, लाइफ जैसे सबकी होती है, और एस्ट्रोनॉट की वैसे हमारा बेटा भी रहेगा.
और हमने पढ़ा है कुछ मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स में, और हमने अभी ये DRDL के साइंटिस्ट से भी बात की, जो खाना और जो प्रेपरेशंस हैं जो शुभांशु के साथ गया है इस मिशन पर, जो फूड आइटम्स है जो लेके जा रहे हैं, उसके बारे में आपको सारी डिटेल्स हैं आशा जी कि वो क्या क्या लेके जा रहे हैं ऊपर?
हाँ, ये हमने भी कहीं पढ़ा ही था कि मतलब वो अपने साथ में गाजर का हलवा, मूंग दाल का हलवा और आमरस वगैरह लेके जा रहे हैं। तो जैसे आप लोगों को इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली वैसे ही हमको भी मिली थी इन्फॉर्मेशन कि वो अपने साथ में इंडियन खाना कुछ लेके जा रहे हैं।
तो क्या ये मिशन टीम से आपसे कोई संपर्क में है कि शुभांशु से अगला जो संपर्क होगा या वीडियो कॉल होगा या फ़ोन कॉल होगा स्पेस स्टेशन से कब होगा, ये कुछ जानकारी आपको मिला है अभी तक?
नहीं, इस विषय में हमें भी कोई जानकारी नहीं है।
Nidhi, your sentiments, such a proud family today, your mother's tears have moved an entire country today. We are so proud of Shubhanshu, so we can only imagine how your family must be feeling today. Tell us about your thoughts. You're the sister of a complete superstar who is headed towards the space station now, and all of you are superstars because the country is watching you.
Yes, country is watching us, and we are very proud. And it is a very overwhelming moment for us. Our brother is going. He's crossing such limits.
Yeah.
We never thought this scene will happen in our family, but it is happening, and it is real. Still, we are not in the believing condition, but we have to believe it. He's in space now. That is for real.
Absolutely, he is in space for real. It's a 20-hour journey. आशा जी, आपका बेटा ग्रुप कैप्टन शुभांशु शुक्ला, और मैं अपने दर्शकों को बताऊं कि ग्रुप कैप्टन का रैंक is equivalent to colonel in the army, ताकि people can understand what that means. He is basically equivalent of a colonel. आशा जी, 28 घंटे का जर्नी है, आपका बेटा एक फाइटर पायलट है। ये जो काम है, ये रिस्की काम है, ये बहुत एक्साइटिंग काम है, दिलचस्प काम है। एज अ मदर आशा जी, आप इसको हैंडल कैसे कर सकते हैं, कैसे करते हैं आप?
रिस्क तो देखिए हर चीज़ में, हर जगह है। हर कोई काम, जैसा कोई नया काम करता है उसमें रिस्क रहता है। तो अब 28 घंटे की जर्नी है, लोग बाहर जाते हैं तो भी 20-22 घंटे की जर्नी में बैठ के जाते हैं, तो ये तो खुद जाके ड्राइव करके जाएगा, तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, डर वाली कोई बात नहीं है। वो सब हैंडल कर लेगा बेटा, बहुत मजबूत। हाँ, पूरा
फुल कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन चाइल्ड,
पूरा कॉन्फिडेंस है अपने बच्चे के ऊपर हमें, वो आराम से लेके जाएगा।
और आपके मन में जब शुभांशु चुने थे इस मिशन के लिए आशा जी, आपको गर्व तो महसूस हुआ ही होगा, लेकिन एज अ मदर आपने कैसे फील किया होगा, क्योंकि ये एक 1 in a million टाइप का अपॉर्चुनिटी है और अब वो पूरा हो गया है।
चुने गए थे जब एस्ट्रोनॉट गगनयान के लिए 4 चुने गए थे, तब तो बहुत अच्छा लगा था, मगर उन 4 में से जब इसको अकेले चुना गया तब ये खुशी और ज़्यादा दुगनी हो गई हमारी कि हम उन 4 बच्चों से भी ये अकेला चुना गया है उसमें नासा के लिए, तो खुशी और दुगनी हो गई हमारी।
Nidhi ji, when was your last conversation with your brother? What did you talk about? Brother and sisters always have interesting conversations. What was it about?
Yes, of course. Today early morning we have a chit chat, little small. When he was going for his preparation, and we have a little small chit chat. Early morning, around 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m.
What did you tell him in that chit chat, Nidhi ji?
He said to us, we chit chat. Don't worry, Shubhanshu, when you were 16-year-old and you were sitting on the train station going for the training, Pune, and so if a 16-year-old boy can do that training, so now this training is very much easy for you. You can do it very, very good and go and complete your mission very good. And he was very happy. He was telling us, Don't take stress. I'm coming back by touching the stars.
Amazing, amazing. So basically for 15 days, 15 दिन के लिए शुभांशु अब इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन में होंगे. काफ़ी एडवांस्ड एक्सपेरिमेंट्स भी करेंगे. आशा जी, आप उसके बारे में भी पढ़ा होगा मीडिया में, और ये बहुत एडवांस्ड कटिंग एज टाइप के एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करेंगे वहाँ पे. उसके बारे में आपका क्या सोच है आशा जी? ये साइंटिफिक एक्सपेरिमेंट्स के लिए, ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए गए हैं इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन.
भेजे गए हैं, जिस काम से गए हैं वो अपना मिशन उसमें सक्सेस होके लौटेंगे. अपना जो करना है वो करके ही वापस आएंगे. अच्छे से करेंगे और अच्छे से करेगा मन लगा के. बहुत एक्साइट है वो इन सब चीज़ों को करने के लिए, बहुत ज़्यादा एक्साइट है.
खुद वेरी एक्साइटेड टू डू ऑल थिंग्स.
सब कर लेगा, सब करेगा वो.
और जो देश के लिए एक संदेश गया, ये मेरा आखिरी सवाल आप दोनों के लिए, देश के लिए एक संदेश गया है कि भारत का बेटा it has gone to touch the stars, as Nidhi you mentioned. It's a day of pride, so much for the family. But do you feel like you are, the entire country is your family today? पूरा देश आपका परिवार है आज, आशा जी?
Of course, of course.
Of course.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. Now he's not our son only. Now he's not our son only. He is India's country's kid. He's not only our son. Family is now on the second number. For his country, his India is on the priority basis. On the first number, he will choose country. On the second number, he will choose his family. For sure, I'm damn sure.
Amazing. I am so happy to hear that. आशा जी, आप पूरा पब्लिक आई में आ गए हैं. आपका प्राइवेट लाइफ को क्या हो रहा है अभी मैं समझ सकता हूँ. मीडिया वाले तो पूरा तंग कर रहे हैं पूरा दिन आपको. आखिरी सवाल इसी मुद्दे पे कि आप
कोई बात नहीं, ये भी बड़े नसीब से मिलता है.
जी जी, आप एक पब्लिक फिगर बन गए हो आज आशा जी. आखिरी सवाल.
जी जी जी, ये तो बहुत अच्छे प्राउड मूवमेंट की बात है. तो बहुत ये सबको नहीं नसीब होता. ये भगवान ने हमको दी है अपॉर्चुनिटी, तो अच्छी बात है हमारे लिए, तो अच्छा ही है.
जी, पूरा देश से फिर से मैं आप दोनों को प्रणाम करता हूँ. एंड टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द शुक्ला परिवार, थैंक यू फॉर योर सन सर्विस. धन्यवाद फॉर शुभांशु सर्विस. वी विश हिम द बेस्ट. हम एनडीटीवी की तरफ से पूरा 1 मिनट तक हम ट्रैक करेंगे अगले the 28-hour journey till the International Space Station, and we will be in touch with you. Thank you very much, Asha ji. Thank you very much, Nidhi ji, for joining us here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And after that 28-hour journey aboard the Axiom 4 mission, by around 4 p.m. India time tomorrow, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla will be at one of the most exclusive addresses in human history, the International Space Station, a floating science laboratory 400 kilometers above Earth, traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour. And for the next few days, this is what he will call home. Now, as you can see, I've cast myself into this simulated International Space Station main control center setting. It looks nice and well how a space station should actually be. But what is life actually like up here when 4 p.m. when Shubhanshu reaches here tomorrow? What is Group Captain Shubhanshu, the Indian astronaut, going to experience along with his colleagues and the astronauts who are already up there? Well, to begin with, every single second on board the International Space Station is scheduled. Shukla's days will begin with a sunrise, one of 16 he'll see every 24 hours thanks to the ISS orbiting Earth once every 90 minutes. He'll get roughly 6.5 hours of sleep each day, floating in a small sleeping bag tethered inside his personal cabin. No beds, no showers, just zero gravity. Discipline is what is imposed on each and every person on the International Space Station. He'll brush his teeth with a small dab of water. He'll swallow the paste. He'll freshen up with wet wipes and meals. rehydratable pouches of dal, rice, vegetables, I kid you not, fruits, even his favorite moong dal halwa and amras, and his mother, you just heard, confirming that. All of this stuff is vacuum sealed and heated before being eaten with a spoon. Now remember, Shubhanshu is a payload specialist. Apart from being the pilot of that rocket, at the ISS, Shukla will conduct experiments in microgravity, ranging from fluid dynamics to material behavior and biology. He will be working very closely with crew from the US, Spain, Italy, representing the ISRO-Gaganyaan collaboration on a truly global platform. He will also exercise for nearly 2 hours daily, because in microgravity, your muscles and bones begin to weaken fast, so astronauts train with resistance machines and treadmills that hold them in place using bungee cords. What about comfort and communication? Surprisingly decent, I have to tell you. Group Captain Shukla will be in regular contact with mission control. There's email, scheduled video calls with family, and even a live link for public interaction. So maybe even a press conference with Shubhanshu could be happening in a few days from now. There's also a viewing cupola, a panoramic glass dome on the International Space Station where astronauts often go to relax and watch Earth go by. Just imagine that view. One of the most breathtaking views a human can experience. That's what our man in space is going to be seeing. Well, the quality of life, it's pretty Spartan, it's pretty spare, but it is sufficient, it is functional. Comfort is sacrificed, obviously, for science, but there is comfort. Privacy is minimal, but camaraderie is very, very high. There's no weather, no traffic, no phones, but also no distractions, just focus, purpose, and the humbling silence of the universe, of space, of the eternal emptiness around them. If Rakesh Sharma famously said, "Sare jahan se acha," what will Shubhanshu say from the ISS? We will know starting 4 p.m. tomorrow. For India, a giant leap toward a future where space is no longer a destination, but a permanent address. And to know more about what life is really like on board the ISS, well, it's one thing to hear about it from me. It's another thing to hear about it from someone who's actually been to the International Space Station. NDTV science editor Pallav Bagla spoke to former ISS astronauts Thomas Pesquet and Haza Al-Mansouri on what life is really like on board the ISS, which Shubhanshu reaches at 4 p.m. tomorrow.
How is it like when you go in for the docking at the International Space Station? Is it again a tricky operation?
It is a tricky operation. You have to be very, very precise. Those are vehicles that are flying at 28,000 kilometers per hour, right, roughly. And you have to control their relative velocity in a very, very tight manner so that you don't impact on one with the other. And so this is all very, very dynamic, very controlled by the engineers at the control center. But from the crew perspective, you've been launched, you see the emptiness, the vastness of space, and then you see your target, you're getting close, and then you realize how big and huge the space station is. It's really magical. It's like a castle in the sky. And as you get closer, you see the complexity, you see the sheer size of it. It's really, you have to force yourself to sometimes look at your instruments rather than just looking at the space station. But it feels really good to get there, to have that contact, hear that sound, and then, equalizing the pressure, opening the hatch, it feels like you've made it to your destination.
Let's spend some time understanding how is life at the International Space Station. Indians have no experience about it. Let's start with the basics. What do you eat there? And how do you eat in weightlessness?
So the funny thing is life in weightlessness is not hugely complicated, but it's different. You have to relearn how to do simple things like sleeping, doing your hygiene, or eating. And eating, for instance, everything floats, right? Everything is in free fall, that's weightlessness. And so you cannot put anything on the table, like it would float again. You cannot put your spoon on the table, it would float away. So everything comes with Velcro. And sometimes we even put tape on the table so that it sticks. And you would be opening a can. All the food is in canned or in pouches or dehydrated foods. And then you prepare your food like you would a meal. You're asking your crew members what they feel like eating. Sometimes you prepare for them, sometimes they prepare for themselves. And then you have your own spoon, eat your food, always hold your packet, your pouch, or your can until it's over. and if you stick it, you have to make sure it sticks. And the beginners at the beginning, it's always fun to see them eat because it's hard to control. Things like rice, I mean, imagine rice, it goes everywhere, and then as they're trying to catch the bits of rice floating away, they send even more rice away, so sometimes there's a bit of a catastrophe. But you know, that's how you learn, and then you get used to it. Sometimes we even have some special food for special occasions like Christmas, birthdays, national days, things like that.
Do you get lonely when you're at the International Space Station?
You know, not really, because, so first of all, there's always a handful of us at the same time, between all the different agencies and the different nationalities. So on my second mission, the minimum was 7 crew members, so that's actually a lot of people. My first mission, the minimum was 3, which at the beginning I thought was going to feel a little bit lonely, but no, it was also a good break from you know, the hectic life when there's so many people around, 7, 11 crew members. And you have so much work, you know, 12 hours and a half every day, plus, you know, taking pictures. You're so busy that you don't have time to think too much, which is good. You want to be busy in those environments.
So what do you do there? What work do you do?
Oh, on the space station.
Only looking out?
No, unfortunately, first of all, there's very few windows, and then there's no time to look out. Every day you've got 2 hours and a half of exercise and maybe 40 minutes for a lunch break. The rest of the time is just work. It's 12 hours and a half work days. I'd say 30% is maybe maintenance and logistics, 30-40% maintenance and logistics, and the rest is just research.
How is it to live on the International Space Station?
I mean, like, you are floating, you know? You are watching Earth, you know, and like the speed of the station more than 28,000 kilometers per hour. So it is like you are completing one orbit in about 90 minutes. So you can see different places in just 90 minutes. You can see day and night every 45 minutes.
How do you do daily activities on space? A simple thing like, how do you brush your teeth?
You know, it's a different experience. Everything is floating. Water is not that.
They're round balls.
Yeah, it's like a ball. So because of water tension, it's floating and it's like in a ball, a shape. So we woke up at about 6 a.m. That is Greenwich time, London time, and then we start to go use the restroom, hygiene, and everything. You have to be more like careful where you place things because they're gonna float.
If you own a pair of Kolhapuri chappals, chances are you didn't pay more than maybe 2,000 rupees for them. Well, guess what? Prada, you know Prada, the $6 billion Italian company, well, they've got a pair of Kolhapuri chappals and they're charging 1.2 lakh rupees for them. And people are really, really angry. I'm going to tell you all about that next.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand.
गोल्ड प्लस ऑप्टिमिस्टिक रिफ्लेक्टिव ग्लास लगाओ, धूप की गर्मी को दूर भगाओ और बिजली का बिल भी बचाओ।
50 years of the emergency.
भाइयों और बहनों, राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपातकाल की घोषणा की है।
India's darkest hour, June 25th, 1975. Lest we forget. The emergency, NDTV rewinds when democracy was suspended.
लोकतंत्र का गला घोट दिया गया था। भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं की तपस्या को मिट्टी में मिलाने की कोशिश की गई थी।
Indira Gandhi's assault on freedom. An NDTV special, Wednesday, June 25th.
The last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two
credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Jaggi brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
भावनाओं को अभिव्यक्त करता हुआ कवि, एक पेंटिंग बनाता हुआ चित्रकार, सुरीले राग गाता हुआ एक गायक और फिल्म के रूप में दुनिया की हकीकत दिखाता हुआ एक फिल्मकार, सब चाहते हैं कि उन्हें एक मंच मिले जहां से उनकी उड़ान को
And we've got breaking news coming in. The Royal Navy stealth fighter F-35 that was grounded after an emergency over Kerala on 11 days ago is still there on the ground, and NDTV has just got the first official word from the British High Commission. NDTV's Deepak Bopanna and Mir Rafe have both gotten confirmations from the UK government that there are serious engineering issues with the F-35 that are keeping it on the ground 11 days after that emergency landing. Deepak, who broke this story, is with me live from Bengaluru. Deepak, engineering issues, the possibility that it will have to be moved to a hangar, this is most unusual. 11 days later, it's still there, and you've managed to get the first official word from the British High Commission.
Yes, finally, for people who've been awaiting some sort of clarity as to when is this aircraft going to move from the runway, we are getting this confirmation, at least from the British High Commission now, that there's an expert team, there's specialized equipment ship that's going to be, flown into India. They're also saying they're in coordination with the Navy, the Indian Air Force, the airport officials and the government as well. All of them have been extending all sorts of support. Now, this aircraft will be moved to a special facility. This is, of course, mainly for maintenance, repairs and overhauling. And once this team arrives, that's when the movement will happen. But they do not still have an estimation as to by when the repairs will be conducted. So that's an indicator that the issue is quite complex. They're bringing in a specialized equipment for this. They're also flying in expert engineers for the sake of this, because earlier, a while from the aircraft carrier, a team had come to inspect and check if they can fix it. They couldn't. So as of now, no clarity when it will be fixed, but at least some clarity that it will be moved to a hangar where they will look at what has actually gone wrong.
Deepak, great news break. Thanks very much for joining us on that. 11 days later, one of the world's most expensive fighter jets continues to be on the ground, and we will track that. And finally, here on India Matters, there's a great deal of anger, revulsion, surprise over the $6 billion Italian fashion giant Prada sporting a pair of Kolhapuri chappals for 1.2 lakh rupees. Now, Kolhapuri chappals, everyone knows, probably cost nowhere above about 2,000 rupees. But Prada, which is an iconic fashion house from Milan in Italy, just had a show where Kolhapuri chappals costing $1,300, that's about 1.2 lakh rupees, were casually being strutted on the catwalk. And people are seeing this as theft, as lazy lifting. Some people are calling it chappal chori. All this is happening, and it has become an India versus Prada kind of story. But I want to make sense of this in a sober way, and that's why we have live with us India's best-known author and commentator, Shobha De. For more on this, Ms. De, good to see you. Thank you very much for your time here on NDTV. Are people right to be angry about this, ma'am? Prada sporting these Kolhapuri chappals costing about 1.2 lakh rupees?
I don't understand what the outrage is about at all. We should be amused, and if anything, we may be flattered. But outrage, come on. The Kolhapuri has a GI tag. It's very much a part of our legacy. It was first noticed, not just noticed, but commissioned in the 12th century, worn in the 13th century. It takes 6 weeks even today to be crafted. It is unique. It is a very, very distinctive. I mean, let me show you my kolhapuri. I hope you can see it on camera. I've been wearing kolhapuris for the longest time. A, because my ancestors come from Kolhapur. And secondly, it's a legacy I'm extremely proud of. I've been wearing them through college. They're all weather, they're comfortable. They sort of get molded to your feet. And if Prada has decided that, yes, why not sell them for 1.2 lakhs? And there are idiots around the world who are willing to buy it at that price. I don't think we should be, getting up in arms about this. It's maybe some kind of an indirect tribute. Who knows? It will lead to a revival.
Yeah.
There are at the moment in Kolhapur 10,000 artisans working on the Kolhapuri. It has a production of maybe 6 lakh pairs a year. They are facing difficulties. The one sole shop that used to be on Colaba Causeway that I've patronized for decades no longer sells Kolhapuris. There are cheap imitations in the market calling themselves Kolhapuris. So, it's not generic, it's very specific. The GI tag says that it has to be made in Kolhapur or Satara or even Karnataka, Bijapur, Dharwad, and so on. So the Kolhapuri is very much a part of our Indian tradition of footwear. I would not call it a sandal. And the French are calling it a chapal. It's not a chapal. There's no question of a chapal chori. They're just doing what they've done for decades, appropriating a lot that has to do with Indian craftsmanship, Indian traditions. They don't care to acknowledge it, but do we really care? They're looking at India as a market, but India is not the market for Kolhapuris because we have them as our own. I can get a pretty decent pair for, say, 500 to 700 rupees.
Yeah.
So I don't know which Indian will be foolish enough to pay 1.2 lakhs for a Prada Kolhapuri. But if the rest of the world suddenly wakes up to how comfortable it is and how, the Beatles made it very popular way back in the 70s. They were always in kurta pajamas and Kolhapuris. There are other top bracket brands. LVMH has just unveiled their collection. They've got snakes and ladders and Bhangra music. They've got an auto rickshaw bag for God knows how many lakhs. India is the market. India is the moment. It is not just a fashion moment, but it is a moment for all our crafts skills to be showcased to the world. Whether or not the designers choose to acknowledge the source, I don't think we should be up in arms about that.
You don't think it should be acknowledged at all, ma'am? The fact that they're not calling it Kolhapuris, there is no direct nod to the artisans or Kolhapur. I mean, some would say the word that you use, the appropriation. Do you think that's par for the course in the fashion industry, or there should have been some kind of acknowledgement, even if it's a tribute?
There will never be an acknowledgement from any of these guys. We should not expect it. We should not beg for it. We should not crave it. We know what we produce is by far the best. These are hand-stitched with organic leather. There are no nails, no rivets, as I said. They're made from buffalo hide, and the detailing is done with goat leather. These are uniquely our products. So if they want to appropriate them, good luck to them. They've done it always. They've done our embroidery. They've stolen so much from us. Next on will be jutis and mojris, I guarantee you. I mean, after Aishwarya Rai and the Sindoor breakout moment at Cannes, I wouldn't be surprised if all things Indian, because of our huge market, the other markets have collapsed. Europe has no money. Why would China, concede these huge markets to India? So this is where they're going to make their money. And let's give them a hard time. Let's challenge them on their own terms. Let's buy our own Kolhapuris and help our artisans, because they are not going to be helping those artisans, whatever they may claim.
You use the word revival, ma'am. Are you saying that Kolhapuris are in a kind of fashion slump right now, and what Prada has done to actually revive interest in them? I mean, I have a pair as well.
Definitely.
We just saw your pair as well.
Well, yes, it could definitely. I'd love to show my pair again to those who may have missed it. But the point is that talking to some of the artisans, especially who supplied Kolhapuris for years and years to the stores along Colaba Causeway, I know that they have switched because there is no demand for the real thing, for the authentic Kolhapuri made in Kolhapur by the artisans of Kolhapur, who will necessarily have to switch to making some other kind of footwear Because these with the toe hold and the side flaps and the little for the little toe to be held firmly. I mean, these are really unique to us. And if there is a revival, well, God bless Prada if they make that happen, and we all suddenly go back to wearing what, well, at least for me, I've worn since my school days, certainly through my college days.
Yeah, Shobhaji, you know, the fashion industry is a funny business at so many levels, and you know, you've seen it intimately from the inside as well. How would Prada have, you know, suddenly noticed Kolhapuris now? You know, how does this thing kind of happen? Kolhapuris have been around for so long. There are so many fashion houses, you know, which do so much work in India. What could have sparked this sudden thing about a Kolhapuri appearing in a Prada line?
You know, the fashion business is eccentric and it's very arbitrary. It takes one person to suddenly take an interest in something specific in India. For example, I don't know if you're aware of the basmati bags which have taken off. These are basmati bags which our grocers bring to our homes and have been bringing to our homes for years and years with recycled, upcycled old gunny sacks made into bags. They're suddenly taken the fashion world by storm. Then we got the basmati blazers, which are selling for some absurd amount, 1.66 lakh rupees a blazer. Again, made from the same upcycled, recycled basmati old gunny bags. Then we have the Vimal saris and the Chetak sweets, which are being sold as souvenir bags in top bracket stores across New York. So the fashion is definitely fickle. It's also something one cannot predict. I mean, if the LV Image show, the entire focus was India focused with A.R. Rahman's music and Bhangra and the top models, you know, going on a set designed by an Indian architect called Bijoy Jain, and the theme being snakes and ladders. All things India and all things Indian seem to be coming back into vogue and good for us. We should exploit the moment. We shouldn't be sitting there and crying about cultural appropriation. I'm sure we've done the same with some of their products in reverse. It's all fine. It's all fine in fashion, love and war, as far as I can tell. That's how I see it.
A final word from you, ma'am. What would you say to the, you know, many hundreds of artisans in Kolhapur right now? Because, you know, all of them would have phones. They would know about this story instantly. I'm sure many of them are looking at this and thinking, you know, wow, somebody's selling Kolhapuri chappals for 1.2 lakh rupees. What would you say to them? And they are listening.
I would say that they should feel extremely encouraged. And if some of those orders, not from Prada maybe, from other fashion-forward houses, even in India, come to these artisans, then it's a win-win for all. Because if there is that sudden interest, and especially the younger generation who may not have grown up wearing Kolhapuris. I mean, my family being from Kolhapur, we grew up with all our uncles, our aunts. We all grew up with Kolhapuris as part of our daily footwear routine. It would be great if there is that kind of fallout from this whole fracas. But otherwise, I think we should just see it and say, well, thank you, Prada. Let's hope many more people across the world take to wearing our Kolhapuris made by us, made in India. And we can then be, really, then we can say we've arrived in a way that is meaningful to our artisans and to all of us who are great champions of these artisans.
Shobha, I'm so glad you were able to join us on this, because I've learned a great deal, and you've helped us all understand this story a little bit better. It's easy to miss some of those things amidst all the outrage. But thanks so much. Appreciate you joining us on this story, and we'll
enjoyed being on your show.
Continue
Thank you so much.
updating our viewers on this story. Thank you so much. Well, that's a wrap on India Matters. Thanks so much for watching. Up next is my friend Maria, who not only scored the political interview of the season, but it's been updated in a big way today.
Absolutely, and Dr. Shashi Tharoor continues to make all the right noises, I would say, with his tweets. Shiv, but you know, that debate that you did, you know, taking up that issue of whether it is really appreciation on part of Prada, or are they trying to appropriate our culture, something that we plan to take up really in a big way on NDTV tomorrow. So hello everyone, welcome to Left, Right and Centre. And I'm Maria Shakil with a power-packed show for you. First, we look at the increasingly strained relationship of the Congress with its MP Shashi Tharoor. Today, fresh barbs were made by the Congress president. Is Tharoor ready to fly? Remember, he did put out a tweet talking about a bird. Next on the show, it's 50th anniversary of the darkest chapter in India's political history, the emergency. We will have former Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, the man who has lived through those times and he has seen it all, and he will be speaking to us shortly. Later on the show, we will have political leaders joining us to discuss is 1975 still an issue in 2025, and why are both the parties in fact fighting over emergency even 50 years later. And finally, India's Shubhanshu Shukla takes off for the space station, carrying a billion hopes with him. Our special report on the historic space leap for India. But first up, it's Congress versus Shashi Tharoor. Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge today snubbed party leader Shashi Tharoor over his praise for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying Tharoor was in Congress Working Committee because of his English and that for some, Modi comes first. And hours later, the Thiruvananthapuram MP put out a tweet on X that was widely seen as a reply to the party president. He said, "Don't ask permission to fly, the wings are yours and the sky belongs to no one." The message was with a bird's photograph right here. Don't ask permission to fly, the wings are yours. That's what Dr. Shashi Tharoor said. And the sky belongs to no one. How should this be seen? But first up, let's listen in to what the reactions have been on this story so far.
मैं तो अंग्रेजी मेरे को पढ़ने नहीं आता, उनकी लैंग्वेज बहुत अच्छी है, उसीलिए तो हम पार्टी में उनको वर्किंग कमेटी मेंबर बनाया है। तो लेकिन मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि पूरे लोग, अपोजिशन के पूरे लोग मिलके हमने कहा कि देश की आर्मी के साथ हैं, जो हमारा आर्मी लड़ रहा है उसके साथ हैं। तो इसीलिए पहला आवाज मैंने उठाया गुलबर्गे के पत्रकार परिषद में। हम बोले कि देश बड़ा है सबसे, देश के लिए हम सभी लोग मिलके काम करेंगे, पार्टी बात, देश फर्स्ट हमने कहा। वो आप चंद लोग ऐसा कहते हैं मोदी फर्स्ट देश बात, तो अब हम क्या करें उसको।
Remember, this hasn't come to this state or stage all of a sudden. It has been brewing for weeks and months now. In February, Dr. Shashi Tharoor praised Prime Minister Modi during his US visit. Many saw that as more of a former diplomat's opinion on Prime Minister Modi, and it should not have been seen in any other way. That's what Dr. Shashi Tharoor had indicated then. Then came his podcast where he said that if Congress doesn't need him, he has options. What options was he indicating? He did not really elaborate on that. Then came Prime Minister's jibe at the Congress. And he also said, the Prime Minister said, remember, at Kerala port inauguration, that Tharoor's presence will give many sleepless nights. It did set a cat among the pigeons. Operation Sindoor. Then what happened? Prime Minister picked Dr. Tharoor for the global team. Multiple teams were sent in various parts of the world, but Dr. Shashi Tharoor was leading the most important one, which traveled to United States. Congress then had objected. Congress did not name Dr. Tharoor, but government picked him was the point. Then we saw Prime Minister's move being praised by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, where Congress said that he has almost become a super spokesperson of the BJP. The most latest one was his article in the Hindu, where he lauded Prime Minister's leadership, which was tweeted by Prime Minister's office official handle. Today, Mallikarjun Kharge actually said that, you heard from him just a few seconds ago, where he said that he was in Congress Working Committee only because of his language. And then came a response from Dr. Shashi Tharoor, where he put out that image of a bird. Last week, Dr. Shashi Tharoor gave only one interview. He had spoken to NDTV, and I had asked him that question as to how he will define his equation with the Congress party. Let's listen in to what he said, and then I bring in the guests. Political observers say that you and your party are drifting apart. You also spoke about difference of opinion today. How will you define the relationship with the Congress today, your relationship with the Congress party today?
Listen, I'm very much somebody who has stayed in the Congress party and loyal to it for the last 16 years. Many of my own colleagues and party workers know that the very close bonds we have. In fact, the question came up in the context of a Malayalam question about the by-election taking place in the part of the place called Nilambur in Kerala. And I said that I wish the Congress candidate well. I wish him all success. He is a friend of mine. In fact, I think that as far as I'm concerned, there is no doubt that the hard work of the Congress workers deserves the reward of victory. And that as far as I'm concerned, the fact that the Congress, as an institution, the Congress's values and the role of its workers, these are all things I hold very close to my heart. That if there are any differences of opinion, it has only been with some elements of the leadership. I don't want to go on beyond that because this is hardly the time to be discussing such matters. I said if there are any differences, they can be discussed behind closed doors between the people concerned. And that's precisely where I wish to leave it. I have absolutely no desire to discuss internal politics at this time, and particularly in the context of the questions that you've been asking.
Let me bring in Radhika Khera, spokesperson of the BJP, Sanjay Jha, political analyst. We have Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist. Rashid, is the Congress party overreacting in the sense that here is a veteran parliamentarian who has repeatedly said that he remains a loyalist of the Congress party, but this constant barb and constant jibe against their own, does it really behove the grand old party of India, the oldest party of the country?
Maria, we must remember two fundamental things. A, Mr. Shashi Tharoor contested against Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge for presidential post. In Indian political parties, without exception, there is no role for any principal dissident leader. That is point number one. Number two, Mr. Shashi Tharoor has crossed, 69, he's pushing 70. There is a Kerala assembly election. Mr. Shashi Tharoor, as I understand, wanted to be a chief ministerial candidate. He had a one-on-one meeting with Rahul Gandhi. Instead of anything, materializing substantively, Mr. K.C. Venugopal, who's also an aspirant, who's a AICC General Secretary in charge of Kerala, he sort of, leaked that kind of privilege conversation or whatever it was. So there is a lot of bad blood in the context of Kerala. Now, Mr. Shashi Tharoor cannot afford to wait for another 5 years. He will be 74, 75 when next round of assembly elections are held. And that is where there is Mr. Tharoor feels there is no role for him either in the Lok Sabha or in Kerala as well as Congress is concerned. And Congress thinks that Mr. Tharoor is being overtly over-ambitious.
No, whatever said and done, he's a four-term MP who continues to be with his party. And despite that, constant barbs, is Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress chief, making it personal, as Rashid said, that only because Dr. Tharoor contested against him? Sanjay Jha?
Maria, good evening to you and to Rashid and to Radhika. In my opinion, and I'm going to just say it as it is, Shashi Tharoor is firstly a dear friend. And having known him, I can tell you this for a fact, that under no circumstances, and I read a lot of speculative gossip on social media, including mainstream papers or media, that can Shashi join the BJP? Let me just address that up front. The answer is an emphatic no, because Shashi is, in my opinion, one of the best brand ambassadors of the idea of India. And two critical